Our speaker for today is someone that I've known for years. And like I said, I believe in work. One of the things that we believe in is if you are the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. I believe in being in rooms where everyone that's on my team or people who I work with are smarter than me in the area in which I am working with them in. And that is where I can best describe our speaker for today. Every short sale deal we do, or our mastermind students do, goes straight to Valarie Scott. There's no one that I know in this region that knows short sales, bank REOs, and distressed properties like Valarie Scott. She's gotten discounts she's gotten discounts on deals where there were no equity. $50, $60, $70, $80, $90,000 profits being pulled out of thin air. Just because of the way she does the business. And with that being said, I want everybody to stand up and give Miss Valarie Scott a great big hand. Bring it down, bring it down. Clap it up. She deserves it. Let me get you set up.
And this is Akil, this is Valarie's husband. They both do the business. This is Akil Scott.
Give Akil a big hand too.
Give everybody a big hand.
First, get you set up.
Charles, I'm going to talk while you're getting it set up.
Let me make sure your mic is on. There you go.
Okay, I first want to thank Charles and Tammy for having me, and also each and every one of you for coming out, because I know this is a holiday weekend and you could actually be spending time with your family, so I do want to thank you. But as I stand here, I must acknowledge someone who's missing, and that's Corey Banks. Okay, I have never come to this room and spoken without Corey being over there to my left. Okay, he would always give me encouraging, had such an infectious smile. I remember the very last time, right before the pandemic, when we were speaking, Corey said, "Valarie, what type of music you want to come into?" I said, "Corey, whatever you want, whatever you want." And I'm thinking he's going to give me some nice, smooth jazz that I can walk into. Okay. Corey puts on Beyonce. And here I go, dancing down the aisle, trying to drop it like it's hot. And I'm only telling you it was from that end of there to here. By the time, Charles, you remember that? By the time I got here, I couldn't talk. Charles had to take the mic and give me a chance to get my breath. That's the type of person Corey was. So he is so missed. I really miss him, and as I know you all do. So for those of you who don't know me, because I see a lot of familiar faces, but I see new ones also. Okay, Daryl. Okay. 1 second. Oh, one other thing I have to tell you. I do have a cough. After I talk for a while, I have a cough. I do not have COVID. So I'm telling you, okay, for those of you who have heard me for the last 10, 15 years, you know after I talk for a while, I'm going to be coughing. I got water, I got my ginger drink and everything. So don't clear the room, okay? So I'm just telling you, I don't have COVID. My husband and I have never had COVID. So anyway, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Valarie Scott. I've been doing real estate investing for the last 22 years. I did my first VA foreclosure back in 2000, okay? and I made approximately $20,000. Really didn't know much about what I was doing, but I learned, okay? And from that point on, I continued doing foreclosures. So, today I'm going to cover how to make money with foreclosures and short sales. And I'm going to go pretty quick, okay, because I got a lot of good information with so try to stay with me. I want you to know, no matter what market we are in, there's always going to be foreclosures. Has there ever been a time that you have known that there were no foreclosures? Can anybody tell me?
COVID.
Okay, COVID. Well, let me just say this. During COVID, there were foreclosures. We still continue to do foreclosures during COVID. Many people thought, which you thought, that the banks could not foreclose during COVID. Well, actually, loans that were FHA were the only banks that were not foreclosing. If that homeowner had an FHA or government loan, VA, they did not foreclose. But your conventional loans were continuing to foreclose. So throughout COVID, we continued to do deals. We were very busy. Okay, so now speaking of COVID, since COVID, I'm giving you some news flash so you can understand why this is so important, that you understand that foreclosures are on the rise. This is from Adam, October 22nd. U.S. foreclosure starts increased 167% from a year ago. That's a big increase. Starts mean that the banks have initiated foreclosures. Okay, foreclosure starts close to pre-pandemic levels nationwide. States with the highest foreclosure rates in September 2022. Illinois, November, New Jersey, and Maryland. And I will tell you, pre-pandemic, Maryland always, many times, stayed in the top 10. And now we're back there. Foreclosure activity increased in the United States, Fox News. Bank repossessions increased nationwide. Vacant homes in foreclosures, record third consecutive quarterly increase. Now I want you to keep in mind that I'm saying vacant homes, okay? Because we're going to talk about that a little later. But vacant homes play a big part in foreclosures. And that is, for investors, a great opportunity in terms of investing. Now, I want to do just a little quick preparation for foreclosure investing, just so we're all on the same page. I don't know how many of you who are here who are new and may have never done a deal, but I just want us all to be on the same page, so I'm just going to do a little quick preparation. So I'm going to talk about the importance of equity in real estate investing. How many people understand equity and know what it is? Okay, let me do it this way. How many people don't understand equity and how the importance of it in real estate investing? Okay. Okay, is there anybody else? I saw you. Okay, well, okay, I'm sure there's some other people, but you don't have to raise your hand. Okay, so what is equity? Equity is the difference between the current fair market value of a property and the outstanding debt on that property. So, for example, if the fair market value of a property is $300,000, but there's a mortgage balance of $200,000, then that means you have positive equity of $100,000. Everybody with me? Okay. But a lot of times when people look at equity, they don't think about the other liens that are on that property. You got to include those other liens that are on the property. So if you got a $300,000 property that's fair market value, you got the mortgage balance of $165,000, you got code violation maybe sitting out there, because we're talking about distressed properties, right? A lot of distressed properties are going to have more than one type of lien against it. You could have a property tax sitting out there. By the time you subtract all that, then you still have positive equity. But in order to close on that property all liens must be satisfied. So don't just look at the mortgage, okay? You gotta find out what other liens are on a property when you are working with homeowners or working with a property. So let's talk about an example of negative equity or no equity. Just like you have positive equity, you do have negative equity or zero equity. Let's take fair market value again, $300,000. But you got a mortgage balance of $500,000 sitting on there. Okay, can that house be sold?
Yeah.
Okay, you say yes, okay. But you got negative equity, meaning that that $500 mortgage balance has to be paid off, but the house is only worth $300,000. It's upside down, okay? Keep in mind what I'm saying. If there's a mortgage on it, that house cannot be sold unless it's enough money that the mortgage is going to be paid. Is everybody with me on this? Okay, that's real important, okay? Now, again, no equity or negative equity. You got fair market value, $125,000. You got a mortgage balance sitting out there, $235,000. Got a code violation of a little over $2,500. You got a property tax lien for $72.55. You got a negative equity of $119,000. These are real types of things that you are going to come in contact with when you are dealing with foreclosures, okay, or distressed properties. There are going to be liens on those properties other than just a mortgage. So you have to make sure that, you know, you have your title, well, your title company's going to pull title anyway. No matter what, title company's going to pull title. And so you cannot depend on that homeowner, I'm telling you, to tell you. You can say, do you have any other liens on the property? Many times they're going to say no. And it may be that they just don't know. They don't know that there's a code violation sitting out there. They may know about that property tax lien, but they're not telling you. But it is going to come up and it is going to affect your numbers. Everybody with me? Okay, clear? All right. So, the amount of equity of a property will determine your investing strategy, how you deal with that property. So, let's talk about foreclosures. I always want to make sure we're all on the same page, so let's talk about what are foreclosures. Foreclosure is a process. I underline the word process because that's what it is. It is a process that begins when a homeowner fails to make their mortgage payment, okay? If the homeowner fails to make their mortgage payment, typically after 90 days, if they have not made 3 payments, that mortgage is going to be shipped to a different department at the bank and what they consider their foreclosure department, okay? 90 days. All right, so second part of that, when the home is foreclosed upon, the lender typically repossesses and attempts to sell the house. So there's 2 parts with it. The process where the homeowner falls behind, then the second part is where the bank is going to take, is if the homeowner doesn't do something to resolve those delinquent payments, that the bank is going to try to repossess that property. So this is what it looks like, okay? You have what's called the pre-foreclosure stage, okay? Pre-foreclosure. Pre-foreclosure is when that homeowner has fallen behind. But I want you to keep in mind, during pre-foreclosure, the homeowner still owns that property. A lot of people hear the word foreclosure and they think that the bank owns the property. When they're in pre-foreclosure, the homeowner still owns that property. And that creates an opportunity for you you to purchase that property before it goes to foreclosure. Okay? Next step is, remember what I said, if the homeowner doesn't do something to resolve the delinquent payments, then it's going to go to foreclosure, meaning that the bank is going to take it to the public auction or the trustee sale. It will be sold. If nobody gets it at the bank, at the auction, then it goes back to the bank. Everybody understand that? That's the actual process. Each state is going to be different, okay? In Maryland, it takes about 90 days unless the homeowner contests it or files mediation. If the homeowner files mediation, then it just depends on how backed up the courts are. Because when a homeowner files mediation, then they're going to get a mediation hearing with the court. So that will prolong it a little longer. But in each state, this timeline is going to be different. Now, okay, as I said, a pre-foreclosure is a property in the process of foreclosure, but is still legally owned by the owner. And the reason I underline is still legally owned by the owner because the bank at that time cannot tell the owner what to do with their house. Okay? Now, they can make suggestions as you can do a short sale, you can do a loan modification, you can do this, you can do that, but they cannot make that homeowner do anything because the homeowner still owns that property. Okay? So pre-foreclosure, they're behind on their mortgage payments. Property may or may not have equity. Now that's key because a lot of times when people think of foreclosures or pre-foreclosures, you think there is no equity. There is no equity. Well, I'm here to tell you a lot of these pre-foreclosures, they do have equity. Okay? The person could be only 3 months behind. Okay? Or 4 or 5 months behind. I think when I walked in the door, I heard I think it was you who said you do subject to, okay? Somebody was saying that you do subject to. Well, that's an opportunity to catch those payments up, okay? And take over that property, okay? Take control of that property. So I'm saying that don't think that that just because it's a pre-foreclosure or the property's in foreclosure that there is no equity, because it may or may not have equity. Okay, foreclosure laws. It's imperative that you comply with all state and local foreclosure laws. When you are dealing with homeowners, there's always going to be some type of consumer protection laws out here. Just know it, okay? And in Maryland has one of the toughest, okay, foreclosure laws out there. And you really do not want to violate that law. So, it's called PIF, you hear people say PIFA, which is Protection of Homeowners in Foreclosure Act. How many people have heard of that? PIFA, okay? Very, very important. So, I'm going to just give you it's a lot to PIFA, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Excuse me. A brief overview. Okay. PIFA applies to owner-occupied properties. Everybody, please say that with me. PIFA applies to who? Owner-occupied. Okay. How about vacant houses? No?
Yes.
No, if it's because it's vacant, it's not occupied. Okay? All right? Owner occupied. How about absentee owners? No. Okay? All right? So, okay, and this is very important because when you are marketing for properties and if you don't want to if you don't want to violate the PIFA law, then one of the things you can do is market for vacant properties or absentee owners, okay, that are in pre-foreclosure. Now, as far as I know, they have not changed this, but, okay, owner-occupied properties, not more than 4 single-family unit dwellings. Now, what do I mean by that? It can be a condo, it could be a row house, it could be a single-family house. It could be a multi-family building up to 4 units, okay? 5 units and above is commercial. 4 units and under is residential. So PIFA will apply, okay? Mortgage payments, at least 60 days in default. The bank considers a homeowner in default if they're 90 days, okay? The PIFA law in Maryland considers a homeowner in default if they're 60 days. So when you're talking to a homeowner, you do want to find out how far behind or when they made their last payment, because if they're owner occupied and they made that last payment and they haven't made a payment in 60 days, then you know PIFA kicks in, okay? Now, a purchaser, meaning us, we're purchasers, cannot represent directly or indirectly that they are acting on behalf of the homeowner to save their house from foreclosure. What does that mean? And this is key. When you're dealing with homeowners, you cannot say, I'm going to stop your foreclosure. I'm going to save your house for foreclosure. Okay, work with me and your house won't go to foreclosure. You cannot say that. That is in violation of PIFA, and I'm telling you, people have gone to jail. Please take this serious. I don't know how long, some of the people who may have been investing over 10 years, remember when we used to see bandit signs on the roadway, stop foreclosure. We can stop your foreclosure, okay? How many have seen those signs years and years ago? Do you see them now?
No.
Okay, this is why you don't see them, okay? Even in your advertisements, when we are marketing on our business cards or anything that we send out, we do not even use the word foreclosure. We will use words like behind on payments, okay? You can use, I'm using those words, but I'm putting it in there with other things, okay? If I'm walking to a homeowner, I may say tired landlord, behind on payments, vacant houses, probate. You see what I'm saying? Included in there with other things, because you are not supposed to, in Maryland, directly target homeowners in pre-foreclosure. Can't do it. All right? So when you're marketing, make sure you're including other things in there, and just please, just don't use the word foreclosure. Use the word behind on payments. Same thing. Okay. All right. Now, at one time, previously, because some people think that to work with people in pre-foreclosure, that you have to have a license. In 2009, they did make a law where you did have to have a license, and because people were taking, that was when the last market crashed, people were taking advantage of homeowners, charging them all types of fees to do loan modifications, to do short sales. I mean, so they came up with you had to have a license, and also you couldn't charge any upfront fees. In 2013, they revised that regulation saying you do no longer have to have a license, okay? So you do not have to have a license. Now, if you are a real estate agent, how many people in here are real estate agents? Okay, you have your own set of rules. There's the website for you, okay? All right? And what it basically says that when you're working with short sales, you cannot negotiate short sales. Please don't use that word, that you're negotiating short sales. What you're doing is you're facilitating, okay? You can facilitate short sales, okay? So, and I love the way, if you go to this website and you look it up, it outlines it very plain. It actually says do and do not. There's a list of things that it says what you can do and what you cannot do. So if you're a real estate agent, you really do want to look at that so you will know what you can do and what you cannot do. So let's talk how to find pre-foreclosures. All right, one of the things that we use is PropStream, and let me just tell you, this is a great tool and or system, and the reason we use PropStream is because we can filter what we want. For example, if we're looking for houses that are in pre-foreclosure that are vacant, or we're looking for absentee owners that are vacant, okay? Absentee owners that are in pre-foreclosures. We can filter it. So, and also PropStream gives us information on that mortgage. When a homeowner calls me, one of the first things that we're doing is looking them up on PropStream, because it's going to give me an indication of how many mortgages are on that property, how much they owe. So it gives a lot of information. So PropStream is one of our main sources for finding properties, because we can filter what we want. PropStream has a vacant house list. Remember, we talked about vacant houses being on the increase. So we can pull vacant houses that are in pre-foreclosure, okay? I love working with vacant houses because they're a little bit more easier to deal with than someone who's living in the house. Now, we'll take whatever comes, but when you're working with a vacant house, I'm just telling you, it's so much more easier. All right, we do have, just a little nudge, we have an affiliate program, okay, with PropStream. And if you do come through our affiliate program, we do give you a free lesson on how to filter and how to get to start working with PropStream, okay? All right, the next one. You can use municipal vacant house lists. All right, Baltimore City has a vacant house list. It is currently not up, okay, it has been taken down, all right? But for those of you who do DC has a vacant house list. So if you're doing DC, theirs is still online, and other areas are online. So if you have, the reason I'm saying that, remember, we're dealing with distressed properties, okay? And a lot of vacant houses are distressed, meaning homeowners have abandoned these houses and are not paying their mortgage, okay? So vacant house lists are a great way of finding pre-foreclosure. Delinquent property taxes, another one. Many times if a homeowner is not paying their property taxes, they also are not paying their mortgage. Okay, these lists are online. A lot of these lists, Baltimore Cities is online, and in other areas, in other counties, they're online. This is stuff for free that you can go online and get. Okay, expired short sale MLS listings. This is another one of my favorites. That these are properties that are on MLS. They're short sales, but they did not close. They didn't close. And so we then market to those homeowners, okay? Because the property did not close for whatever reason. It could have been listed too high, or, which typically is the case, it was listed too high. So we market to those homeowners and we get quite a few that way. Okay, remember, pre-foreclosures may or may not have equity. Okay, pre-foreclosure properties that do not have equity go through a process called a short sale. Okay, they go through a process called a short sale. The homeowner's lender will discount the mortgage balance so the property can be sold without the property going to foreclosure. I need everybody to understand what I'm saying, okay? This is very important. That's what a short sale is. The homeowner's bank will discount the property so that the property can be sold without going to foreclosure. That's on those properties where, remember we talked about negative equity or zero equity, okay? Those properties can go through a short sale process, and so that those properties can be sold, okay? The sale, of course, the sale of the property generates less money than what is owed, right? Okay? A short sale can only occur if both the lender and the homeowner agree to do a short sale. The bank cannot force a homeowner to do a short sale. They can only recommend it, and a lot of times the banks are recommending that they do a short sale, but they cannot force that homeowner to do it, okay? A short sale occurs in the pre-foreclosure stage of the process. So, now, a lot of times people think a short sale is automatic. All you gotta do is just submit a offer to the bank, and then the bank will approve it. It doesn't work like that. The homeowner has to qualify for that short sale, okay? Meaning that the market value of their property has dropped, it's upside down, right? It's negative equity or zero equity, it's upside down. The mortgage is in default, meaning they're behind, or near default. Homeowner has a hardship. They must have some type of hardship or some type of reason why they want to do a short sale. And the hardship cannot be, or the reason cannot be, I don't want the house anymore. Okay? That cannot be your reason, okay? And no resources to pay off the mortgage debt. So meaning that the homeowner can't have $1 million in the bank, because they are going to ask for bank statements and pay stubs and say, well, I can't afford to pay this. The bank is going to check all that out. So, one of the short sale advantages for homeowners, they avoid foreclosure, all right? Possible monetary short sale incentive to the sellers from the lenders. Some lenders will give the homeowner a relocation fee or a short sale incentive. The average is $2,500 to $10,000. Okay, homeowner walk. I have a property that I'm going to be showing you where the homeowner walked away with almost $10,000. Okay. Quicker recovery on the credit score. It's a quicker recovery than going through a foreclosure. And seller can purchase another home within a few years. We have people who've gone through a short sale and they've bought a house in less than 2 years. Okay? Now, how to get homeowners in pre-foreclosure to do business with you. This is very, very, very important. So, the first thing, you want to have some knowledge of the short sale process, because if you're marketing, who's the first contact with that homeowner? You are, okay? And so when you're taking information about that homeowner's property, you're probably going to realize very quickly that that homeowner is upside down. And so then you want to be able to suggest that they may be able to do a short sale with their bank, okay? So you don't have to know in detail the process or all the ins and outs, but you do gotta understand just the basic process, because the homeowner is gonna ask you a few questions. The second thing is you wanna work with professionals that can help facilitate the short sale process. The real estate agent, title companies, appraisers, licensed contractors. Okay, so let's say the homeowner asks you a question that you cannot answer. That's okay. Refer them to your real estate agent. Because guess what? Most of the banks want a real estate agent involved in that short sale process. So what you're going to do is tell them, you're going to have them talk to a real estate agent who can explain more. Okay, because also remember we got PIFA sitting out here, that PIFA law sitting out here. So even, let's just say, even if it is a vacant house, I treat my vacant houses as if it is a occupied house. Meaning that once I make contact with that person, I find out they're in pre-foreclosure, I get that agent involved and I don't talk to that homeowner again. How beautiful is that? Okay? I'm gonna say it again. I'm the initial contact. If I'm marketing, that homeowner contacts me, right? All right? I have that, I take the initial information, I refer them to the real estate agent, right? I don't talk, there's no reason for me as the buyer to talk to that homeowner again throughout this whole process. All right, now, the next thing, title companies. Title companies are very important. They can make or break your deal, okay? It's important to have an agent. I'm telling you, your agent is key, but title companies are just as key. Because when it comes to your exit strategy, title company can make or break your deal. So you need to, when you're doing these short sales, you need to know what your exit strategy is. And we're gonna talk about exit strategies in a few minutes, but you wanna make sure that the title company is a title company that does the type of transaction that, exit strategy transaction that you want to do. For example, how many people wholesale? We do a lot of wholesaling of these short sales, okay? If you wholesale, you cannot do an assignment. You cannot assign short sale contracts. You have to do a LLC assignment. And all title companies do not do LLC assignments with short sales. So you want to know that ahead of time.
Actually, it's two things. Because what you just said, look at the points she has before there. Work with professionals that can help facilitate the short sale. The last thing you want to work with, and I don't want to throw any shade against anyone, is an agent who has never facilitated a short sale
Yes.
or knows how to do the process.
Yes.
They could blow your deal up like you wouldn't believe. So the key here is knowing that the persons you're working with has a record and know how to facilitate, because not all banks, not all lenders are created equal. Number two, right, she mentioned here with the title companies. That's another huge point, because there's a specific kind of way in which these deals have to close. Like she mentioned, the LLC close. And not all title companies know how to do that. So that's all part of your negotiating when you first get into this business and you're doing or working with the title company, knowing exactly what kind of transactions they specialize in and have experience in.
All right, next thing, reasons why you should invest with short sales. I'm really big on helping homeowners, okay? It's a great way to help homeowners avoid foreclosure. It's a method of creating equity so you can purchase the house at a substantial discount, less competition. A lot of people don't like short sales. A lot of agents don't like short sales. Never work with an agent that does not like short sale, I'm telling you. Just don't do it, okay? Because it'll never really get done. Okay, so there's less competition, not difficult to get out of the contract if you change your mind. And that's good, okay? Because let's say if I'm gonna go back to wholesaling. Let's say if you're wholesaling, let's say you can't find a buyer. And it's rare that we can't find a buyer, okay? Well, let's say you're wholesaling and you can't find a buyer. You can get out of that contract because in that short sale approval letter, there's gonna be all these different terms. And if you disagree with one term that's in there, you can get out of it. Okay? You gotta read that short sale approval letter and no, I don't agree with this, so I don't want the property anymore. Okay? So it's not difficult to get out of the contract if you change your mind. These can be very profitable deals and in multiple profit streams. Okay? Okay, how can you make huge profits with short sale properties? Okay, 5 money-making exit strategies. You can fix and flip this to a retail buyer, just like you would do any other property. You can fix it and hold it as for rental income. You can borrow it, which buy, renovate, rent to a tenant and refinance it. You can wholesale the property, flip contracts for quick cash, and you can do subject to if the property has equity. Okay, so there's lots of, each property is going to be an individual. You have to look at each property separately and determine what is the best exit strategy that you are most comfortable with. Okay? Now, they call short sale creating equity out of thin air, and that's what you can do and collect really big fat checks with this. So let me give you a few short sale examples. I'm going to walk you through some real examples so you can see actually how this works. Okay, this was a Baltimore City short sale that we did about 2 months ago. Actually, the person that we did this property with, she is a real estate agent. Okay, she's actually a real estate agent, but she did not want to do it as an agent. So those of you who are agents, the beauty with short sales is, when you come across these properties, one of the things you can do is you can look at it and look at the property and say, which way am I going to make the most amount of money? Am I going to make the most amount of money as an agent? Or am I going to make the most amount of money if I'm the buyer? You got that, agents? Okay? Because you want to make good money too. Okay? So, all right, the homeowner on this owed $98,000. That's how much they owed. Okay? The investor, that was Natasha, okay? Buyer, she had a contract with the bank for $45,000, okay? We actually started lower, but we ended up at $45,000, okay? By the time, and that's what the bank accepted. They accepted $45,000. $98,000 was owed, bank accepted $45,000. So, by the time the bank paid the realtor fees, because the bank is going to pay the realtor fees, right? Okay, they're going to pay closing fees, and this bank gave $10,000 to the homeowner, okay? The bank actually, out of $45,000, got $22,000. Is everybody with me? Yeah. Okay? That's what, because remember, the bank is paying fees. Contract price $45. By the time they paid all those fees, gave the seller $10,000. Okay. Now, the seller here did not actually get $10,000. Come to find out, when the title company re-pulled title, some personal liens came up. Okay? So we went back to the bank, say these personal liens came up. Bank says, I'm giving her $10,000. She can pay it out those $10,000. Okay? So she ended up getting a little bit over $7,000, and she was very happy with it because she didn't think she was getting anything. Okay? Because we typically do not tell the homeowner what they are getting up front. We don't do that. We wait, to the end so that we don't want to build up, expectation and then let them down. Okay? So let's talk about the investor strategy. Now, Natasha's original intent with this property was to rehab it. And the reason why she did not rehab, because this would have been a great rehab property, this is up in Edmondson Village, she didn't rehab it because she had never done a rehab before by herself. And so she was looking for someone to partner with her. So is there anybody in here who partners with people on rehabs? Okay. Could you please give me your information so I can give it to her? Just write it down, give it to me on a piece of paper, and say that you're willing to partner with people because, she finds great deals, and that's what she was willing to do. But anyway.
Valarie, what's the R on this deal?
Edmondson Village. I don't remember what it was. Edmondson Village. Wildwood Parkway, Edmondson Village. Okay. 21229.
Townhome?
Row house, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I know.
Almost 3.
On a townhouse?
I don't remember the terms. Okay. So she couldn't find anybody because she really was all excited and gung-ho about about rehabbing when she wasn't able to do that. So then, of course, she decided to wholesale it. So she found, what we did was we marketed for an investor, rehabber, buyer, okay? And so now remember, Natasha has it at $45,000. She wholesaled it to an investor for $84,000. Okay? All right. So investor, buyer, short sale purchase price for bank was $45,000. Okay. So her profit was $39,000. Okay. So she still made. So it was still a good profit deal. Okay. Even though she didn't rehab it because she wanted the experience of rehabbing it and stuff like that. You know, she was able to make, the profit on it was $39,000. Everybody understand what happened here? Okay. All right. Next one. I got one other. I don't think Franklin's here. This is Franklin. Okay. Now, I picked these deals for a specific reason, not because the people are here, but because there's different learning in it. Okay. The last one was about that the person got $10,000, but they couldn't get it because they had those liens. Remember I talked about those liens earlier? Okay, this is a house in Baltimore County. Okay, now, all right, homeowner owed $125,000. Okay, Franklin, who was the investor buyer, his price was $10,000. That was his contract with the bank. Okay, so bank actually ended up taking $10,000, and the net amount after paying the realtor fee, closing costs, and what have you, the bank ended up getting $7,000. Now I want you to stay with me here, okay? And so the amount the bank waived from the homeowner's balance was $118,000. Wow. So everybody understand that part before I go to the investor strategy.
Yes.
Okay, so Franklin over there wholesales it to a rehab buyer for $87,000. That's what Franklin did. Okay? Actually, this was, how many people know Mike Green? Was it Mike Green? Franklin?
Yes.
Okay. Franklin wholesaled it to Mike Green for $87,000. Okay, so that means the gross profit was $77,000 on this. All right, but a lot was going on with this with the homeowner and the bank. Bank decided they weren't giving the homeowner any money, and so there were some expenses out there that needed to be paid in order for this property to be closed. Okay, so Franklin, out of the $77,000, paid those expenses, and he ended up making $57,000. Okay, real quick, it's a lot easier. Okay, bank foreclosure. Now we're in the center. Okay, we just did pre-foreclosures. Now we're on foreclosures. So that, when I say foreclosure, that means the bank now has repossessed the property and it's gone to the auction. No one got it at the auction, meaning no one bid high enough, right? No one bids high enough, so it goes back to the bank. So what you typically hear people refer to them as is REO. REO stands for real estate owned by the bank. So how does a property become an REO? The mortgage default is not resolved, meaning the homeowner didn't do a loan modification, forbearance, reinstatement, or short sale, or maybe the short sale failed. Now, I will tell you the majority of ours, I can't think of the last short sale that we failed at, okay? I'm not really patting myself on the back, but I am, okay? All right. But for those who don't really know how to do short sales, some of them do fail, and the houses really end up going to foreclosure. So the bank, we're talking about how it becomes a foreclosure. The bank initiates the foreclosure process. We know they foreclose on it, take the property back. Okay, this is what it looks like. Pre-foreclosure, they could have done a short sale, but it went back to the bank, went to the auction, now it's owned by the bank. So, how do we find REO properties? So, most of your REO properties are going to be listed on the MLS. You're no longer dealing with the homeowner, okay? Homeowner has nothing to do with this anymore. Property has already been repossessed by the bank. okay? So this is what you were talking about in the back, where the bank now lists it with an agent, and it's on the MLS. So what you can do is you'll have an agent who is actually going to submit offers for you. Okay, so there's other sources of REO properties, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. A lot of times people overlook these sites. These are sites where you also want to look for, as investors, you do want to look for properties, foreclosed properties. Now, there's some rules with this. With Fannie Mae, first 20 days that the property is listed, okay, there's the website on the bottom, Home Path. First 20 days that the house is listed on the Home Path site, that is for people who want to purchase the property as their primary residence, okay? After that initial 20 days, the bidding period is open to investors. You got it? First 20 days, it's for people who want it to be their primary residence. After that, it's open to investors. Now, Freddie Mac, same thing, okay? And their website is Home Steps. First 20 days that it's listed for people who want it to be their primary residence. Okay, after that, it's going to be open to anybody, such as investors. Now, HUD properties. Again, a lot of good properties in HUD. Okay, HUD is FHA. Remember we talked about FHA loans a little bit earlier. If an FHA loan goes in default and the bank takes it back, it becomes a HUD property, Federal Housing Administration, okay? So, HUD homes are appraised prior to being listed. So HUD is going to appraise those properties. Now, if that property qualifies for FHA financing, that property is going to be considered insured. Properties that do not qualify for FHA financing, HUD does not considers that uninsured. So if a property is insured, that means investors cannot bid on those properties for 15 days. If you're a nonprofit, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're a nonprofit. The nonprofits can bid initially. But if you're not a nonprofit and you're an investor, you have to wait for 15 days. If the property is uninsured, investors cannot bid for the first 5 days. So when you're looking on the HUD website, okay, make sure that you're looking at whether it's insured or it's not insured. Because if it's not insured, then you just have to wait 5 days and you can bid on the property. Now, with HUD, there's no credibility factor. HUD accepts or rejects offers based solely on the price. In fact, it is the computer that's picking the price. They're picking the highest net amount. Okay? So they're not looking at weasel clauses and all those type of things. Okay? Okay, this is an example of a HUD house. Just a quickie, this one was in Randallstown. The investor put an offer of $145,000. You can wholesale these properties back to that LLC assignment, okay? And made a quick, they wholesaled it to an end buyer, made a quick $5,000, okay? And actually the rehabber actually held it as a burr property. Now, 2 tips for REO investing. You gotta make lots and lots and lots of offers. You must do that. Because when something's out here for the public, that means everybody sees it. So if everybody sees it, right, you're gonna have many times a lot of people bidding on them. So in order for you to get an offer accepted, you have to make lots and lots of offers. So if you're working with an agent, it's got to be an agent who's going to be willing to make lots of offers for you and not get frustrated if your first 10 offers don't get accepted. Okay? What our agent does is they have a template for it. I mean, let's think about it. If you're an agent and you're doing the same thing over and over, what are you changing? The address and the price, correct?
Correct.
Set up a template, have them set up a template. Make it so that they can make it easy on them. Okay? So, when you're dealing with HUD houses, these REO bank-owned properties, you are going to put up an earnest money deposit. Whereas with short sales, depending upon who the agent is, you may not put up a earnest money deposit because it is not required. Okay, so the people that are working with us, we don't put up earnest money deposits, but when you're talking about bank-owned properties, you are going to put it up. So, and it's very, very, very difficult to get those deposits back. So I suggest that you definitely use a financing contingency if you are not experienced. If you are experienced and you know, let's say you are a rehabber and you are buying this property to rehab it and you got it at that exact price you wanted at, then fine. To increase your chances, don't use that financing contingency. But if you are wholesaling or you're not sure you want that property, it would be better to use that financing contingency in case you need to get out of that contract. Okay? Here you are. When you are wholesaling an REO property, what if you can't find an end buyer and want to get out the property? Okay? Again, I recommend if you are in terms of wholesaling, I typically don't recommend people wholesale REOs unless you have some experience wholesaling because of those deposits, or unless you're going to joint venture with somebody who has a great buyers list. For example, Gary, stand up real quick. Gary is a person who has a great buyers list. He works with us, and on many properties, he works with finding buyers for our students, okay? So Gary is a person that you will get to know if you're gonna do REOs, because he would be able to make sure that this closes because he has a great buyers list, okay? And if he doesn't have a buyer, he knows how to get them very quickly, okay? He's had excellent training on how to do that. I must say myself. So I'm saying, take this serious in terms of these REO properties. Now, if you're wholesaling, because it's not going to be that easy to get out the contract. But if you must get out the contract, here are some legitimate reasons to get out the contract. And these are things you're going to have to be able to explain to your real estate agents, because a lot of real estate agents may not know this. So let's say the condition of the property has changed or deteriorated since you put that contract in. Then that's a reason to get out, okay? Meaning the roof may be leaking. It's mold now, the house was vandalized, okay? Termites, okay? These are things that weren't maybe that you didn't notice before, that all of a sudden you noticed, and so you need to, submit maybe some termite inspection to your, to the agent so that they can, get you out of this. All right, another, code violations. A lot of times that once titles pull, code violations will come up on these properties. And you can either ask the bank to reduce the price, or if they don't reduce the price, get out, okay? Delayed closing. This is a biggie. This is a great way to get out because most of your banks do not close on time. So let's say if you're supposed to close on December the 30th, 2022, but the bank is not ready to close until January 22nd, 2023. And you no longer want this property, because you've been trying to wholesale it and you could not find a buyer. Get out, because the bank rarely closes on time. All right, this is just another one, or just a, this was a HUD property on Henry Street in Baltimore, contract price $125,000, wholesaler to a rehabber buyer. These are quick, very quick wholesale fees, $13,000 wholesale fee. Because these properties are gonna close within your average 30 to 45 days, whereas your short sales are gonna take longer. Okay, so, bank REOs and or short sales, choose one or choose both. I'm just giving you some of the differences. Whereas your REO properties, no contact with homeowners. If you're a person who don't want to deal with homeowners and who don't want to do any marketing, then REOs would be good for you, okay? With short sales, you're going to have to at least deal with that homeowner once initially because you're the person that they're probably contacting through your marketing. Earnest money deposit. With REOs, you absolutely are going to have to put down an earnest money deposit. In some cases with short sales, depending on your agent is, no earnest money deposits to get started, okay? Unless you're making offers on the MLS. If you're making offers on short sales and on the MLS, you will absolutely be putting earnest money deposit. Okay, REOs, contingency and weasel clauses, they decrease chances of your contract being accepted. Contingencies and weasel clauses do not decrease your chances of a short sale contract being accepted. You want to tell you why? Because the bank doesn't care what you say. They're going to give you their terms, and that's their terms. Okay? You put all the weasel clauses in there you want, and we do, but they don't care. Okay? Because when you get that short sale approval letter, it's going to list the terms for you. Okay, more competition with REOs, that's competition with short sales. REOs, you can close 30 to 45 days. Short sales can take several months to close.